Well, welcome to Healthy and Active in the Couve. I am personal trainer and nutrition coach Nick Medlock. And with me, as always, is Dr. Trent Corey. And we're going to have a fun conversation about heart math. And so we're going to square the circle, so to speak. We're going to do the calculus of the heart, mathematics of the heart. And it's not like addition and subtraction, like I'm kind of poking fun at it. But there is lots of good science, and there's lots of good things about electromagnetism, which you have to have math involved. But I think these are some principles that you can add to your life, and then some other things that you can take away. So I'm going to leave it to Trent to introduce what all of this is about, and then we can go on with our healthy discussion.
Hey Nick, yeah, definitely. It's a wonderful thing that I love to share with folks. You can see I have this little clip on my ear, and I'm trying to do this at the same time. And really, this is a thing where it's basically a biofeedback device. And so, just this quick little clip thing that goes onto your ear, and got a Bluetooth sensor, and then it goes to an app on my phone that records what I'm at. So right now you can tell I'm in red because I'm talking and I'm busy. But if I can get myself into more of a relaxed state of mind and try to breathe and try to think more generative thoughts, I'll see if I can do this while talking. A lot of times I'm just focusing on my heart center, and then I can get the feedback of improving. You see, it says blue there. I might go back to the red. We'll see. But the idea is it's a nice feedback device for us to get centered into what's called coherence. And so it's been really neat to be able to have some sort of quantitative model to detect what's going on inside of ourselves. And like you said, Nick, basically the body is completely electromagnetic, and one of the main centers is our heart. It's very high level of magnetism. There's an electric field that expands well beyond our body. So if you've ever been within somebody's presence and you kind of feel good vibes or bad vibes or whatever, it's because you're syncing up with that vibration. And so this isn't just woo woo, and that's why the quote math part of it. There's really not really a big focus hard on like, oh, I got to study and I got to get numbers down, but it just gives us a little more scientific verification of the things we've kind of known intuitively for so long. And so very simple thing, this little wearable is really simple to get. It's about $100 to get one of these, but then you get the app, it's free. And then you can have different data on recording. So it'll come up with a graph, and you maybe can see that right there is that, it'll tell you kind of where you are in terms of what's called coherence. And basically all that means is kind of a syncing up of our brain and our nervous system. And it creates this relaxed state of awareness. And the higher you can get those absolute numbers, the better, we can actually train this up and get better at it. So it's really kind of a fun thing to kind of have it be a bit gamified. The feedback lets us know, when it beeps red, okay, I let my mind focus on something, or I went down some negative thought pattern, or something where I'm distracted. Like for me to talk and then to try to do this, it's hard to
Yeah,
keep on the red, keep off the red. But
yeah.
it has different levels where it's easier to you can make the red even higher, like so you have to get, a higher level to get out of red or into blue and into
Mm.
green. And so you can make it like as hard as you want to. And as you practice it, that's what's great about it. There's a way you can practice and get better at it, and attain accumulative points, and all the things about habits that are good with the app itself. It's just called Inner Balance. And so that's been a pretty helpful tool for folks. I've had sometimes people come in where they've been kind of discombobulated. They're all over the place with their mind. They're very flustered. And then I can actually hook this up to them, have them do it for just a couple minutes, and just kind of see if they can get themselves into blue and green. And the transformation within like a couple minutes is pretty profound. People are able to be like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so much better. I feel really good." And that's what's really cool. It's like once you can direct your mind to this, and you have more control over these things that are kind of automatic, autonomic, they're really completely within our own control, and we have better agency to be able to do those things for ourselves. So I found it to be really helpful for a lot of folks who are kind of in that flustered state or
Yeah.
can't do it for too long. Even if you do this for like, 3 minutes a day, it can make a
Yeah.
big difference. So yeah, it's a really cool thing.
Well, in my mindfulness yoga class, we talk about these things, and I was reading in here. It's just really cool. Um, all the info that I was able to kind of gather real quick before our meeting. The coherence thing of heart and nervous system and mind is kind of like when we're talking mind, body, and soul, or when you're talking, all those metaphysical kinds of things. But these are really trackable, energetic data, and if we can get our heartbeat to slow down a lot of times with our breath, we can get our mind to slow down a little bit, and we can get our nervous system to slow down, especially with breathing and some of the other things that we talked about with the vagus nerve kinds of.
Mhm.
Uh, and it just I know I give this example. You can tell when somebody's out of sorts or angry. You walk in the room, you feel it. But also, I like to say an example of you walk into a room and when somebody's secure in themselves and calm and not stressed out. And sometimes that takes uh, a higher amplitude for it to affect you, but it still does.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of times we feed off of the negativity more readily. So you've got to, what I like to say is raise the vibration, so to speak. And you can do that a lot with it sounds like with this heart math system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the main thing is trying to be, just kind of get yourself into that calm, vibration and be able to relax. And the way it's feedbacking is, heart rate variability and all these different data that we know that really are very helpful for us to become a little more attuned. We know that those are healthy frequencies. And so it's pretty neat and simple, and that's kind of what we need in our fast-paced society. And we have a lot of things that are kind of just all over the place. So where we can kind of bring ourselves into this. Don't need the device for it. Let's just kind of make that clear. You can just focus on just breathing from your heart center. It's called the heart lock-in technique. You just breathe in and out through your heart center, and then come up with some just amazing, just a thought of gratitude, or just presence, just being able to relax into that state.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the better you're able to be clear on what you need to be doing in your daily life. So been really helpful for people to put a name to it and to have some it was really important for the folks, McCready and Rosman, and there's a bunch of other folks who do the studies and who've been putting a lot of data out that talks about why this is so important. And so, and several books out there, one that's called The Heart Math Solution. I think another one's called Heart Intelligence, and it goes into depth of the aspects of what's actually happening scientifically with this. A lot of times I just like to get into the experiential of it and just kind of know how it's affecting me. I definitely was really simple for me to implement right away and feel like, oh wow, this really makes it nice. And so there's several different ways to do it. There might be other names. Oh, like you'll say, oh, I do this practice. Well, great. But
Yeah.
understand that the things that we're doing, any sort of meditative practice, any sort of thing that we can actually focus on these things. And it's nice to have the feedback on it so you can know what actually is happening and inside your body. It gives us more motivation to do more of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Well, I love that, and I love how much science is. I say in my yoga class, I love to put the science behind the woo-woo, so to speak, because there's a lot of stuff science can explain, and some things that can't be explained. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but so like we've talked about like the fascial system. I think we might have said this once that some people are even calling that the sixth sense because of the sensory inputs communicate so fast, faster than the nervous system to the brain. But I'm reading here because I love like the geometry of how our bodies create the electromagnetic fields, like called this torus or toroidal field. It looks like a donut.
Mhm.
I wanted to put up some stats of this, and I knew it reached far, but I just want to read off of here. This is from Gemini off of the Google AI thing about heart math and the toroidal field that we produce from our heart. It says some theories propose that the heart's energy fields extend much further, potentially up to 8 feet or several miles in this torus or donut shape of the body. And this field is believed to carry emotional information and interact with fields of other people. And these larger ranges are less directly measured by scientific instruments, and they're more related to the bioenergetic concepts. But they're starting to do more and more research on that. But that just gets into the idea that you were talking about at the beginning. For me, is that we live in a stressful, fast-paced time, and especially the more that the world encroaches in. Some people live in apartments or in like rowdy neighborhoods. You feed off of the emotions and the nervous systems of other people. So it's kind of like you have to have, I'll say it like this, emotional nervous system hygiene to be able to regulate your emotions and nervous system around the hustle and bustle of traveling, dealing with people around you at work and all of this kind of stuff, especially since we are getting more disconnected with our devices and phones and just, I read a statistic that we read about like 500 different amounts of newspapers worth in just scrolling the news and scrolling on so our brain is on overload. We don't retain all of that information, but our brain is trying to do all this stuff. So we get in kind of like this email paralysis, and our nervous system gets affected by that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot going on, all right? And but the only thing we do have in control is what we can think. And so and that's power right there. And that's all you need to think about is like how do I want to presence myself? Like how do I want to be present in the world right now and focus on that, right? And so just really trying to be as intentional about what is going into your brain, what we want to think about, and what your heart is trying to say. So that's what this is all about. It's about that connection of this, whatever it is, a foot from here to here,
Yeah.
like getting that connection and really tuning into that and how you really want to show up in the world. Understanding that other things are around there and everything's, we're in an attention economy, right? It's about how to grab your attention and the only thing you really have control of is how you want to direct that. And so if you can put a little bit more, starter on that, right? Knowing that this is how I want to show up in the world, this is how I want to think and how I want to focus on things that I want to do in the world, then I can focus on that. And other things may come by, but they're just going to bounce right off because you're so in tune with these other frequencies that are higher level and they're doing the things that you want to do. And so, we're always sensitive to these things. We're not always immune to them, but the better we've kind of created like the idea of that, it's hygiene, it's being strong and being able to understand how these frequencies work, how you're able to tune into your own your own heart's desires and what you really how you want to be in the world is super important. So the more we can kind of do that and have that at the highest level with our focus and concentration and sinking into that, all the news, all the stuff doesn't create as much of an effect on us as much as it does other folks who just kind of have random, they're just bouncing off the wall every single thought, and
Yeah.
it's exhausting for the folks who are going through that. And I know many people who are going through that. So the more we can, and including myself, we got things going on, that's it's busy. So we have to figure out how we want to be our best in the world and make sure that that's our priority going into it before we know, hey, we're going to get these bombardments and we're going to be able to handle this. So.
Well, this is such an exciting topic for me, and I know I'm going to do a deep dive after we have this conversation because I definitely this is up my alley, and I love this kind of stuff. But I want to read a little bit of the benefits, and then maybe have you describe your experiences and maybe some techniques for heart math. But I'm excited for these benefits, so I'll just do the bullet points that I found without reading the whole thing. But reduced stress and anxiety, we kind of mentioned that. Improved emotional regulation, increased focus and cognitive function, enhanced sleep. That's a big thing, especially if you're stressed out a lot, it's hard to sleep. I love these next ones: reduced fatigue and depression, improved physical health, increased resilience, enhanced relationships. Of course, if you're, you know, have that better emotional regulation, your relationships aren't going to be in that much turmoil. And improved performance in areas like academics, sports, work, focus, and reducing stress. So there's a lot of big benefits to heart math.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's so simple too, and that's I think where people will overstep it, and that's why all the research has been done on this is because you could just go through these simple things, and really one of them is just like I said, you're basically breathing in and out through your heart center. So we just practice it right now, just kind of get yourself comfortable and just sit your feet on the ground. Be aware of the space and time you're in right now, just aware of the space around you. You just close your eyes if you like to, and what you do is just you take a deep breath in and then out. And just imagine as you're just breathing out of your heart, so just kind of put more focus in that space around your heart. And you just do that a couple times. And instantly, when you have the sensors on, things shift pretty quickly. It doesn't take very long. It just takes like 30 seconds, right? And then from there, then we try to think about something on, if it's a person in your life, who you're really just really glad they're around, you know, I'm really fortunate for this podcast and with you, Nick, so really, focusing on just a sense of gratitude or appreciation, love for a friend or, that kind of thing. Just something that's, my cat, she's not here right now, but kind of thinking about something that just makes your heart warm as you think about her or him or whoever it is. Or just, what situation in your life you're just really glad that that's going on, right? But you just go through that several times. And then if the thought goes here and there, you're just focusing on that right now. But you can do this with the timer and I'll bring you back now. You can kind of come back and that's basically one of the main things is just going through that. But even just within just 2 minutes of that can make a huge difference. And they've shown this with, I think some of Dispenza's work, he talks about gratitude, how the immune globulin A, for, your immune function goes way higher when you just do, and he does some heart math stuff too, for sure. But that your immune function goes way up when you just go through gratitude, and they've done the studies of this, right? Been able to have people go through something where they're feeling really grateful for something, and they measure this in their blood, right? And notice like how things are shifting, and so these things that kind of are like, oh, on the periphery of like, oh, I didn't, you didn't know that this thing was actually measured. Just understand when you're going through something as simple as this, that these powerful chemical things are happening within your body. And it's actually beyond just the chemistry. I think a lot of us get bound down into the chemical model with just like, oh, I need to take this thing to make it better. Homeopathy is based on vibration of something, right? You don't even take the stuff. You take the vibrate, they dilute it so much you don't even have the chemicals going in your body, but that still has an effect on your body. I mean, that's why it still exists, right? If it never worked, they would have gotten rid of it by now. But that's an interesting factor of like how vibration of things and the microtubules of our cells and how basically light flows through that, and when it's coherent light, it flows through us, and it goes way faster than a neuron going down. There's just no way to explain like that action potential along a neuron to when you react to something or when you so the eminence of like how it goes through us as we are this being of light that goes through, the more we can kind of conduct and move that much smoother and
Mhm.
with this higher level of frequency. the more effective we are in our body's processes, and the better health we can have, which is what we're all about here. So that's really what I find is really helpful for us to understand that deeper level of what's going on inside our bodies when we're doing something so simple as what I just led you through. And there's a whole bunch of more stuff in the heart math material that you can kind of be free to go
Yeah.
through on your own. But usually when I just do a demo, I just do something really that simple. And don't overstep the simple things. If you just start with something and do this 2 minutes a day, it'll really change how you feel immediately after. And usually when you feel better, you'll do it more often. But just at this moment, you always focus on what we can do right now in this moment. Those
Right.
things really help us become more present in our lives. And a lot of, as you said, we talked about how things are busy.
Yeah.
Well, if we can just be here more now, as Ram Dass said, like let's create a sense of being able to be more present and sensing here now. That way, every moment is more savored and realized versus just zip zap zip zap. So
Right.
yeah,
I love that. And getting into the more grounded, slower pace of life, which we should, partake in more often than what we do. But you're just reminding me of how important like grounding and going into nature is,
yeah,
and
7.83 hertz, man.
yeah, yeah,
Get on
and
the Schumann resonance, just literally putting your bare feet on the ground, get outside in the sunny daylight. It's a little bit sunny out today. Just getting those rays on your skin, getting you connected to those coherent light rays that come in at full spectrum light from nature, connecting to the earth, all these things while you do these heart breathing techniques. It just, you don't need drugs.
yeah,
You just take this, and it's an amazing thing where you can feel so much better. You don't need an antidepressant. You don't need a talk therapy. You do what you need to do, but I'm not telling you what to do. But like, I know for sure my case is like, if I get outside, I do these types of practices. I get out for a nice exercise or run or something. I pump my muscles. Totally game changer versus,
yeah,
sitting in front of a TV, no
yeah,
light, aberrant light of high vibration, advertisements in my face, right? I mean, it's just night and day.
yeah.
And literally, so how we affect our thoughts and how we create that vibration is critical to our resilience and strength and health as our bodies are going through this world.
Yeah, it reminded me you were talking about chemicals, and I had a bioenergetic chiropractor tell me once that we're electrical beings having a chemical experience,
Mhm.
um, and it's like we can use that electromagnetism of the earth and of changing our heart waves to change the chemistry of our bodies.
Yeah.
So you don't need pills or things necessarily. You can do so much with your surroundings and in your inner world also to change your chemistry.
Absolutely, and then you look in chemistry. I mean, I took organic chem, and I remember someone just tell me, when you're doing all the equations and you're trying to figure out the carbonyl groups and how they go, you're following the electrons. You're
Yeah.
always like, it's always about where those electrons are. You're always talking about acid base. That's all about electricity. It's not,
Hmm.
it's not about like, I don't know what people are thinking when they just think they need to take this certain thing. It all comes from the environment of light and water and magnetism. You do those three things. And that's one thing I've been talking about on this podcast before is Jack Kruse talks about this all the time. You can get all into, oh, I need to take NAD. Oh, I need to take a methylene blue. I need to do this and that. And like, you get out in nature, you act like a hippo or a rhino, and you get outside and you do the basics. You'll find that so many things shift just with that. But I mean, but it's super important that we understand that electromagnetic kind of trumps all the extra stuff that we think about the chemical model of I need to take I'm deficient of this thing, and then therefore I need that. We can generate so much within ourselves, and that's where that message comes of just having those generative feelings of health and love and vibration that creates the inner pharmacy, inner
Yeah.
compound pharmacy to activate.
No, that's amazing. Well, we're going to have to wrap it up. Is there any last thing that you want to say about heart math before I sign off?
Just try what just rewind back to when it led you through that, or just look it up more. Just find yourself 2 minutes and just set a timer. Do that, and you'll find a big shift with that. So try that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Trent. I love when we did the end of the American Heart Association heart talk that we did a few months ago. How you ended it with that. It was a highlight of my night for that. So highly encourage everybody out there to try the heart math, try the meditations, do the grounding, get out in nature like we've been talking about. But yeah, give it a shot. Look it up more. If you're interested in some more of the research, definitely ask us. We can put some links up on the page. But this has been Healthy and Active in the Couve. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please hit that subscribe button and yeah, give us a shout out and tell all your friends about us. And we're just going to keep making these no matter how many subscribers we get, but we're hoping to get more and more so we can give you more and more. So have a great evening, Trent. Thanks for the talk.
All right. Thanks so much. Great one. Thanks.